Hello and welcome to the Quick News Daily Podcast, where I give you the facts first, no clickbait stories, just real news that matters to real people. Today is Thursday, September 17th, and thank you for trusting me with your news. Well, ladies and gents, it seems like every day brings another huge signal not to vote for Trump. Sometimes the sky turns orange because we're ignoring the climate. Sometimes the president tells you to drink bleach to beat a killer virus. And other times he reenacts walking down a ramp. Lucky for us, he gave us a couple more of those signature moments yesterday. So I'll tell you all about those, as well as some vaccine news, and even more. So let's get caught up. Do you remember when Barack Obama was such a narcissist that when his town hall didn't get good ratings, he had a meltdown at a press conference the next day? Remember that? No, of course you don't. Because we've never had a spoiled toddler for president. Obviously, I'm making some assumptions here, but it is 100% true that Trump's ABC town hall didn't even crack the top 5 programs of the night. The top 5 in terms of viewers were America's Got Talent with 5.94 million viewers, Nuggets Clippers Game 7, Tucker Carlson's White Power Hour, Sean Hannity, then at number 5, Big Brother with 4.13 million. Trump's town hall, drumroll please, drew 3.97 million viewers. Ouch. If you were a normal person though, that wouldn't matter to you. But if you're a narcissist and you only care about yourself and don't possess the ability to care for others, you might go out and say this.
That's despite the fact that the blue states had tremendous death rates. If you take the blue states out, we're at a level that I don't think anybody in the world would be at. We're really at a very low level. But some of the states, they were blue states and blue state managed. And by the way, we would recommend they open up their states. I think it's very important that they open up their states.
Hey, Donald, hey, hi. Maybe you don't want to say dead Americans don't matter because they live in states that vote for Democrats. I mean, I know you said dead American soldiers were losers and suckers, so this isn't surprising. But yeah, maybe don't say that part out loud. Honestly, folks, how do people still believe in this guy? Even if you think he's a sinner or whatever, but then he does good stuff in his actions, isn't there some limit? Sadly, that wasn't the end of the press conference. Naturally, since his CDC director told the truth in his testimony in front of Congress yesterday, Trump spent nearly the entire press conference ripping him to shreds. In that testimony, Dr. Redfield said he expects vaccinations to start in November or December, dangling it right around the election, of course. But he also said it'll be in limited supply, and only those who are most in need will get it. So like healthcare workers and the elderly. The entire public will take about 6 to 9 months to get vaccinated, meaning that normal life, if we remember it, will take until about the third quarter of next year, so about 1 year from now, best case. That didn't please the dear leader though, so Dr. Trump, infectious disease extraordinaire, said, quote, "I think he made a mistake when he said that. It's just incorrect information, and I called him and he didn't tell me that, and I think he got the message maybe confused. Maybe it was stated incorrectly. We're ready to go immediately as the vaccine is announced, and it could be announced in October." Oh, well there you have it. October. 11 months before the experts said. Interesting. Dr. Redfield also let this slip.
Even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, because the immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine's not going to protect me. This face mask will.
To which Donald Trump said, quote, "The mask is not as important as the vaccine. As far as the mask is concerned, I hope that the vaccine's going to be a lot more beneficial than the masks because people have used the masks." No, they haven't, Donald, because you keep making fun of people who do. It doesn't help that only 42% of Americans want a vaccine. As it turns out, people don't want you injecting things in them when you've lied about almost everything else. Kinda hurts the credibility. And of course, the press conference wasn't over without this classic line from Kayleigh McEnany.
About the healthcare.
I'm not going to give you a readout of what our healthcare plan looks like and who's working on it. If you want to know, come work here at the White House.
Yes. No, I just wanted to know who's working on it.
Yes. Stakeholders here in the White House, and as I told you, our Domestic Policy Council and others in the White House are working on a healthcare plan, the president's vision for the next 5 years. And yes, and if you want more, come join us here. Yes.
That's not the point why I asked the question.
Yes.
I think you know that.
The updates on Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny are coming fast and furious now. His team is now claiming that he was poisoned with a hotel water bottle. After they heard that he had fallen ill really suspiciously, his team went back to his hotel room and started gathering up anything they thought could be useful, including those water bottles. A quote from a post made by the team says, "It was decided to gather up everything that could even hypothetically be useful and hand it to the doctors in Germany. The fact that the case would not be investigated in Russia was quite obvious." 2 weeks later, a German laboratory found traces of Novichok precisely on the bottle of water from the Tomsk hotel room. And then more laboratories that took analyses from Alexei confirmed that that was what poisoned Navalny. Now we understand. It was done before he left his hotel room to go to the airport. End quote. So, another part of the mystery solved. It sounds like much of Europe is going back into their lockdowns as they've seen COVID-19 infections spike recently. According to the World Health Organization, more than half of European nations have reported an increase of more than 10% in new cases in the past 2 weeks. Of those, 7 countries have seen newly reported cases increase more than twofold in the same period. Sadly, again, the biggest proportion of new cases is among 25 to 49-year-olds. So, I guess there must still be this thought out there that it's not serious for younger people. And it's not as serious, but, you hear these heart conditions pop up, and we don't even really know what happens long term. So, yes, again, it looks like Europe going into more lockdowns, and if it's that bad over there, can you imagine what it's like over here, when we don't really have that much testing, and we don't even care about it anymore, and our states are almost completely open? It's just madness. This new information about Trump's Lafayette Square stroll and clearing peaceful protesters with tear gas should alarm everyone. There's another whistleblower out there, this time from the military. He's a National Guard major, and his name is Adam DeMarco. Major DeMarco says that the Defense Department's lead military police officer for the National Capital Region sent an email to the DC National Guard asking if they possessed a long-range acoustic device that's used to transmit loud noises to clear up crowds, or an active denial system, ADS, which is a heat ray. I'm not kidding you, we actually have a heat ray.
I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Now, evidently, my cycloptic colleague informs me that that can't be done. Can you remind me what I pay you people for? Honestly, throw me a bone here. What do we have?
Now, this isn't Dr. Evil, but it sounds almost as bad as you would think. The ADS system, this heat ray, emits a directed beam of energy that causes a burning sensation and was considered a non-lethal way to control crowds, especially, I'm guessing, in the Middle East when it was harder to tell who were the bad guys and who were the good guys. However, it's not clear if it's been used much or at all, since after some testing it seems like there may be some actual burns and more severe injuries, other than just the sensation that they're talking about. I would guess that's probably the case because, I don't know what their technology is, but I feel like if you get a burning sensation, there's gotta be something causing that. In any case, the fact that they were even thinking of using this on peaceful protesters so that Trump could go hold the Bible upside down outside of a church is just, like I said, this is the V for Vendetta world that we live in these days. In just some super quick news, some really just short pieces of information, there was a new Quinnipiac poll out yesterday. It released some results on some of the Senate races going on. And in Maine, it had Sarah Gideon up 12 points, 54 to 42 over Susan Collins. It was reported that Susan Collins was deeply troubled and her brow was very, very furrowed. In addition, it has Jamie Harrison, the Democrat, in a tie 48-48 with Lindsey Graham. The South Carolina poll I'm not as surprised at. The race has been remarkably close, especially for South Carolina. But this Maine one is where I'm getting a bit suspicious here. That one has showed like a tie or even a Susan Collins lead for most of the time. There have been some times where Gideon shows that she's up 3 to 4 points, but mostly it's been pretty close. So this 12 points, especially since Gideon's all the way up to 54%, I have to think this might be an outlier. Now, according to 538, Quinnipiac is a B+ rated pollster, so not bad, but it doesn't fit the trend. Now, if we get a couple more of these, then it gets interesting. Interior Minister / Attorney General William Barr is making a fool of himself once again, this time saying, quote, and this is real, "You know, putting a national lockdown, stay-at-home orders, is like house arrest. Other than slavery, which is a different kind of restraint, this is the greatest intrusion on civil liberties in American history." End quote. Ooh, okay. Maybe don't want to be comparing those two things. I saw someone on Twitter, it was something like, yeah, these things aren't really comparable. It's either literally being forced to work for someone and kept in slavery, or having to do Applebee's curbside pickup. You know, it's like literally all we had to do was like 2 weeks of sheltering in our homes. We could still go out, just not necessarily eat out or get haircuts or whatever, but my God, William Barr. But yeah, what a clown. What a clown that William Barr is. What a disgrace he is. And this morning, once again, Donald Trump is on Twitter trying to undermine mail-in ballots. But thankfully, Twitter seems to have wasted no time in marking that as misleading or false. They have this little thing on the tweet that says, "Learn how voting by mail is safe and secure." So, alrighty, I think that's going to do it for me here today. Just as a heads up, I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm toying with the idea of maybe taking the day off tomorrow. Unless, of course, there's some super big news that we just really need to discuss, which is always likely with Donald Trump in charge. But I'm sort of thinking of maybe just writing something instead or, just taking the whole day off completely. So if there's no new episode tomorrow, don't be too shocked. Some other business I do have to take care of though, and I record it every single day, but it just gets lost in the editing process somehow. Thanking our contributors. We of course have our executive producer Gwen and producer Kathy, and again thank you so much for the support. Other than that, there's just the usuals. Reviews, rating the show, merchandise. Yeah, that's about it. So in that case, as always, stay safe, make your plan to vote, fill out your census, and I'll see you right back here on Monday.